Do this to improve your art fast and draw anything better. Organize your inspiration. In this video, you're going to see me use organized inspiration to come up with a design draft for a very popular, big, important location in My Manga Apple Black. In many ways, I always found myself subconsciously doing these things, and the times that I didn't, I kind of struggled with the art, or at least as fast as I would like. Whether it be coming up with character designs, or trying to figure out certain poses, or trying to figure out why this background doesn't work, or what's missing to really give it that oomph. And a lot of times it's gathering an influence map of some sort, or just using your influences and inspiration. That's how you have artists, they have a lot of mood boards, or they have the whole Charlie Day thing going on when they're doing actual investigation. So it's not just even art. It's good to kind of see everything while you're working in a very organized manner. The more disorganized it was, the more time I spent on it. I remember doing the first chapter of Apple Black, and then there'll be certain poses I knew what I wanted to try and achieve, but I wasn't too sure on how to draw it. And I would spend so much time drawing it, having so many versions of the same pose, trying to figure out what works and what doesn't. And I think if I had a mood board of some sort at the time, it would have made things so much quicker, so much faster, because I'm studying the references right there, and I'm also learning it. That way, if I had to draw the same thing again, I'd spend even less time. So one of the best things to help me improve, look for references from your favorite artists, not just one. If not, your stuff is gonna look very similar to that one artist. Kind of diversify your pool of influence. Artists, creators, so on, whatever, filmmakers, doesn't matter. And then organize them to where they're always ready for use when you're drawing something similar, whether it be mood boards or some kind of digital mood board. Keep that in mind. Even today, when I'm looking at content, I don't just watch anime or read manga now or some comic or even a music video, whatever the case may be. If I see a shot I like, that's how I kind of grab it, keep it, but it's not always easy to do, especially if you're just passing by or you're at the cinema. You can't just whip out your phone and take a photo. But over the years, I did that the best I could, and I organized them into folders and I put them on Google Drive. So anytime I wanted to draw something similar, I always look back just to put my head in that mindset and then see what other creatives are doing and try to see what I can apply to my own work, trying to figure out what the translation, art style wise or just manga tool wise, whatever the case may be, just figure out that translation for my style, while getting influenced by everything similar. Character designs, punches, dynamic angles, background shots, camera angles, headshots, just stuff that I found interesting. Even the way panels were cut on a comic page. I was studying all these people and learning. Some series, I didn't actually even know what they were. Maybe I just saw the image on Twitter and I just saved it. But again, I don't always have the luxury of doing that. Sometimes I see things and I forget it, or maybe I remember to go look for it again, but the next time I go look for it, I can't find it. Then I go to look for something similar, where I use Pinterest to try and find something similar, and I get influence for that. You've seen me do that in several character design videos. Before Google Drive, I actually had the files on my computer, but I put it on Google Drive after a couple years because it was easier to just access it from a mobile standpoint. But it's a hassle. It's more of a hassle. I have to go folder by folder, and sometimes I don't necessarily organize it in the best way, and you can only see one image at a time. It's not really suited for that. And I don't necessarily have an actual board, and I don't want to print out a bunch of pages and do a Charlie Day thing. So I still find ways to use the influence as best as I can, but it's a bit of a hassle, and there's a disconnect sometimes. But the key thing is to figure out a way to organize that influence, because it does help, especially when you're directly working on whatever piece you're working on. And so there are many times where I have it scattered. It's not always on Google Drive. I usually bookmark stuff that I see on Twitter. Sometimes I do stuff on Pinterest, like I've said. Sometimes I go to Google Images and I just use it while I'm looking at Google Images and I have all the images displayed. Sometimes it will show similar things while together depending on what I'm searching. And if I really like the image, then I save the image and I put it somewhere, or I put it back in the Google Drive, maybe saving it for later. But again, it's a hassle. Everything is scattered. It's across several social media. I even do the same thing, saving images in my Instagram. So it's kind of a mess, a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. It helps, but it can be difficult. I remember seeing a video for a bookstore, I believe in China, and I just looking at it, I was just like, this looks, even though it's modern day, you know, with a little tweak here and there, this would look great as like a library in my world of Apple Black. I found this image on Twitter and I was able to easily save it using a tool, and our sponsors partnering with me to bring you this video, Milanote. Milanote is basically a tool for organizing your creative projects. It doesn't always have to be a manga or comic. It could be honestly anything. It could be an investigation. In this video, I'm currently using Milanote to organize my manga references. And in the video, you can see me save honestly anything. It could be text, it could be an image, GIF, video, whatever the case may be. But here I'm saving that Chinese bookstore that later helps inspire manga backgrounds for the library in Apple Black. I'm also going to be using it for other things. I'll be transferring a lot of the stuff I did on my Google Drive onto Milanote in a very organized, seamless way. I'll do this for poses, all the stuff I did it for before. Backgrounds, like we'll have an example in this video too. It's perfect for visual thinkers like you and me because it allows us to organize our ideas in ways that make sense to us. And also others because it's easy to digest. This is the main project board. As I plan out my projects, I've organized my thoughts into several subboards, including the Cyrene Capitol Building Inspiration, which is the building we'll be coming up with in this video. Don't worry about all this stuff. It's not intimidating at all. Milanote is actually very user-friendly. I'm gathering all kinds of inspiration from all over the internet. It makes things less troublesome for my brain. I can grab things from anywhere, any website, anything. It allows you to collect notes, images, videos, tasks, and a bunch more all in one place. And then you can also casually grab things from wherever you want to grab them from with the Milanote Web Clipper browser extension. You see the save button right there. You can save links. Like I said, you can save anything. Once you save it, you have it on the Milanote thing, and then you can click and drag and arrange it on the board however you see fit. Whether you're a writer, artist, filmmaker, or whatever, Milanote makes starting a new project easy with over 100 built-in templates available for every type of creative project. I like to collect inspiration from various places on the web using the Milanote Web Clipper. This makes saving images and links directly to my board from any website super quick and easy. Sometimes you can just click and drag the image to your Milanote tab and just slap it on there. Again, it's very user-friendly. I just tried that and it worked. And then when it's ready, you can actually share your board. So I can share my board to the manga artists that work under me. It makes everything very easy when you're working in teams. And it's so organized, it's easy for anybody else to read and digest, like I mentioned earlier. Invite your colleagues and clients to gather important feedback and collaborate with them in real time. When it comes to comics, you always usually, especially for big projects, you have a team, colorist, inker, letterer, background artist in my case. So it just depends on you, but it's very easy to collaborate. So with everything I mentioned about organizing your inspiration, Milanote kind of makes all of that super quick and easy. And I know they're partnering with me to bring this video to you, but it actually helps. Milanote is available for free with no time limits. Join using the link in the description and start your next creative journey. Doing so will be you supporting this channel and yourself. And if you enjoy it, please let me know in the comments below. I'm really curious to know if it kind of helps you in any way, you know, for research purposes. Is it just me? Let me know in the comments. So before you guys see me use it in action to draw a background, a really important location in the Apple Black world and the Apple Black story, especially heading into the tournament arc, where the characters from each country, for those who read Apple Black, are having the representatives of each country, which would be like 10 student sorcerers, 10 young sorcerers from each of the 6 Eden countries, right? Eden is a continent, and then the countries, Black Bottom Island, Alexis, Flurry Crockett, Yota, Cyrene, the place where everybody's going, and then Magnoland. Everyone's kind of going to Cyrene for the Nirvana games, where all the sorcerers representing those countries come together to knock things out. So this is one of the important buildings, like the capital in a way of the world, kind of, sort of. And I've never designed a place, but I know what kind of energy it needs. So I've used Milanote to gather a bunch of backgrounds that I think kind of speak to that as best as possible. I'm gonna use those images, use that mood board to create something new, fresh, original, and fits the Apple Black world. It's not just images, I also have like quick notes and just things that remind me of the things that the building should have just for story's sake and for a practical, functional side. Like it should have a bunch of buildings. It should have what I call like a black sphere, which is kind of like an energy grabber. It has a lot of purposes in the world. I don't want to get too lore heavy or, you know, power system heavy in this video. But a lot of important buildings have this kind of black sphere thing that's kind of a satellite, kind of like a solar powered panel type thing, and is actually important for the Nirvana games itself. So how's that going to play into design from a practical standpoint? And are there any designs that have something similar? I also want the building to look kind of fanciful, you know, fantastical, memorable, almost like the character designs. Like if somebody were to silhouette out this background, is it still very clear what series it's from, where you saw it, all of that, very recognizable. And sometimes I make a list just to make sure that I hit all those key points. But at the same time, visually, I want it to be, so this is big. This is obviously not going to be the whole country, but it's an important location, and it's good to kind of start designing it now before I get to it with this draft. And maybe as time goes on, I'll kind of alter and tweak things here and there until I have what I want. But you guys are going to see me do the first draft with Milanote. So now, let's design the Cyrene Capitol building. Starting out, this is how the board ended up looking, and I'm just kind of looking at everything, going back and forth. It's much easier this way than having to do Google Drive and go with each individual image every time. I can look at everything at once, and I can just begin sketching. I was thinking, you know, I could do like a eye type symbol that's also key to other themes within the world. Like a keyhole is kind of like a big deal with how I design certain things within Apple Black. Even the Apple Black logo, if you look closely, there are elements of the design that look like a keyhole. And some of that is playing into this and like this eye design that I'm cooking and putting together. But then I want like a black sphere to be behind it, and then maybe some kind of gold looking frame in front of it, forming like this black eye that the building is putting together. And then the black sphere can also serve as a dome, but like a giant dome. I'm seeing that maybe there's like a really huge one behind this main capital one that I'm putting behind it. I'm also sketching things to make it symmetrical. This is also something that's very common in these kind of architectural designs. I'm also going back and forth looking for images that are similar. I want something grand and regal, rich and posh, you know? I liked the arc or the arc-like structure in some of the other images and seeing if I can incorporate that, and then maybe it's kind of like forming some kind of structure around the sphere behind. I want the towers and the buildings overall to be really tall, big, and intimidating. But then I still want more fantastical elements, so I'm adding this kind of floating halo, which is also a common thing that I do in a lot of the big similar type buildings within Apple Black, where it just kind of sells this fantastical element of it. You kind of don't understand the mechanics or the sorcery science behind how this halo is even floating above this sphere. But again, these are all the things that kind of give it that vibe. So even the images that I'm looking at, I'm not just looking at them to literally see what they're doing visually, but I'm also trying to get the vibe, like trying to see if I could replicate the same energy and response that one would get from them visually, but then trying to do that in my own way, trying to do that, finding my own translation to what that grandiose vibe is going to be. And once I did all of that, put a couple more buildings together. Drawing, also part of the list is to make sure this building still feels like it fits the world that I've already built so far. And then you just keep cooking. Keep cooking, keep adding to it. You want to get it from a nice angle. There will be more buildings to show depth. The buildings closer to the camera will be much bigger. And now I'm just having fun with it, drawing it from different angles so that, you know, anyone else who might be looking at this illustration will have a better understanding of what I'm trying to do, of how maybe the building would be if you were looking at it from the top, without drawing every single building as well. But again, I think we cooked. You would have the same approach when drawing anatomy, or saying, well, just practicing as well, maybe not even drawing it straight up. So I'm using it, doing similar things here, and it's good for practicing. It's good for coming up with drafts of designs, character designs, building designs, the list goes on. So hopefully you guys, you know, can cook in a similar fashion. Hopefully all of this helped make life easy for you and improve your art, which is the goal, improving your art fast, and you being able to draw anything better. For the 2.5 people that found this video valuable, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. They help a great deal. Hit the bell so you stay notified each time I upload absolutely anything. Turn on all notifications. Everything you could possibly need will be in the description below. Watch more videos. Check out Apple Black. Volume 5 in the beginning of the next arc, a tournament arc, is on the way. This is White Manga, and I'm Audi 9000.